We identified 10 of the biggest challenges in the world. I'll just briefly read them: climate change, communicable diseases, conflicts, education, financial instability, governance and corruption, malnutrition and hunger, population migration, sanitation, water, and subsidies and trade barriers. We believe that these in many ways encompass the biggest problems in the world. The obvious question would be to ask, what do you think are the biggest things? Where should we start on solving these problems? The point is, of course, if you want to know about malaria, you ask a malaria expert. If you want to know about climate, you ask a climatologist. But if you want to know which of the two you should deal with first, you can't ask either of them, because that's not what they do. That is what economists do. They prioritize. They make that, in some ways, disgusting task of saying, which one should we do first and which one should we do afterwards? They basically came up with a list where they said there were bad projects, basically projects where if you invest $1, you get less than $1 back. Then there's fair projects, good projects, and very good projects. And of course, it's the very good project we should start. You know, when you ask the world's best economists, you inevitably end up asking old white American men. And they're not necessarily, great ways of looking at the entire world. So we actually invited 80 young people from all over the world to come and solve the same problem. The only two requirements was that they were studying at the university and they spoke English. The majority of them were, of course, from developing countries. They had all the same material, but they could go vastly outside the scope of discussion, and they certainly did, to come up with their own list. And the surprising thing was that the list was very similar, with malnutrition and diseases at top and climate change at the bottom. To start thinking about saying, let's do not the things where we can do very little at a very high cost, not the things that we don't know how to do, but let's do the great things where we can do an enormous amount of good at very low cost right now.